we'd be alright if the wind was in our sails. We'd be alright if the wind...
Arr! Welcome me arties to today's Attic Raiders Retro Reviews, where we're gonna be looking at the classic game Pop-Up Pirate. Now, if you be worth your salt, you already know how to play Pop-Up Pirate, and YouTube is full of videos showing you how to do just that, so I ain't gonna bore you with any of that stuff. But what you might not know, me arties, is that Pop-Up Pirate's changed quite a lot over its lifetime, and not always for the better. So today we're gonna look at some of the variants and see how it's changed over time. We're gonna take this Tomy Pop-Up Pirate game from 1989, which is the one that all the games since 1989 have been based on, and we're gonna compare that to the older version of Pop-Up Pirate, which was released by Action GT in 1985. Pop-Up Pirate was first released in 1975 by Tomy in Japan under the name Kurohi Kikiapatsu, which means Blackbeard in Danger. It proved so popular that it's never really been out of production, and it's still made today. Apart from some of the very early releases, such as this Super Shaggy Pirate from the US, most of the games have been the same thing, released year after year after year in slightly different packaging. The most notable difference being the 2008 Pop-Up Pirate Treasure Island. I think that's enough of that. In this game, our Poppin' Pal was incorporated into a treasure chest as part of a dice-rolling memory game. Given the simple design of Pop-Up Pirate, it's really easy to switch a few things around to create a whole new game that will appeal to different markets. Cast the plastic pieces in a different colour, slap on some new stickers, and have a different character jump out of the barrel, and you can target a whole new audience. Given this, it's been easy to rebrand Pop-Up Pirate for Pirates of the Caribbean, Disney's Lilo and Stitch, Despicable Me, Pikachu and Pokemon, the horrendously annoying Baby Shark, Hello Kitty, Buzz Lightyear from Toy Story, Olaf from Frozen, Darth Vader from Star Wars, BB-8 from Star Wars, Poporo the Penguin and Friends, the Japanese comedian Hard Gay Razor Ramon. The less said about this one, the better, I think. Penguin's Troubles, Attack on Titan, Disney Pixar's The Good Dinosaur, and Mario from Super Mario World. As well as the official Tomy variants, most of which were only released in Japan, quite a few other companies have tried to get in on the act by copying Pop-Up Pirate. These popping imposters include the Tom and Jerry themed Tom Bomb by Giochi Preziosi, Puff the Pop-Up Dragon by the Early Learning Centre, Pop-Up Puppy by Carousel, Hoppy Bobby by Simba, Crazy Gorilla by Little Treasures, and the incredibly unofficial and just plain bad taste Afghan Crisis featuring Osama bin Laden. Let's leave behind the knockoffs and the spin-offs for now though, and take a closer look at the original 1985 Action GT version and see how it compares to the newer 1989 Tomy release. The first difference to note is that in the older 85 version, when the pirate pops out, you win the game, whereas in the newer 89 versions and all the other versions since then, if the pirate pops out, you lose. Here we have the older 1985 version of the swords, and here's the 1989 onwards version of the swords. You can see the older versions are slightly smaller, obviously they're a different design, but the main thing is that these older versions have these little round bits on the end of the handle. Now these really not joined very well there, so those tend to snap off quite a lot. So the newer version without those round bits on the end is much more sturdy and is unlikely to snap or break, so that is a good design decision. Here we have the older 1985 Action GT version of the pirate, and this is the newer 89 Tomy version. This is basically what all of the pirates look like from 89 onwards. You can see this one
It's made from a different kind of plastic from this one. And this one here, we can see is just simple, molded in one colour of plastic with painted details on here. And he's got a sticker eye patch and a sticker eye. Now, I'm not sure if this guy was supposed to have a beard as a sticker. On the front of the box, you can see that the pirate has got a beard that appears to be a stuck-on sticker. Now, I don't know whether my version is supposed to have a beard and he's just missing it, or whether the version that's shown on the front cover of the box is an earlier prototype before they changed it for production. But either way, I've never seen any photographs of these guys with an actual sticker beard on them other than the one that's on the front cover of the box. The problem with the stickers is that they tend to crease or peel or rip off, especially where you've got a flat sticker being applied to a curved surface. So design wise, this is not great. Another problem with these is the painted detail. These are obviously designed to pop up out of the barrel and land back down again, and when that happens, the paint is going to get chipped in the high points. That, of course, is something that is not going to happen on this newer version where it's actually coloured plastic. That coloured plastic is not going to have any of the colour chip off of it when it lands on a hard surface, and also the coloured plastic being used here instead of stickers means that this is not going to rip or peel off over time. A sticker has, however, been used on the body here, and that means that a lot more colour variation can be used and a lot more detail, like this little anchor tattoo here. I have to admit though, I do prefer the three-dimensional shaped body rather than this flat sticker body. But I think overall, this new version of the pirate is probably better design-wise for playability and durability. Looking at the bases, here we have the older 85 version and the newer 89 version. The 85 version was really necessary because this part here for the base meant that the barrel could slot into there and be screwed in from the bottom so that that was nice and sturdy. Moving on away from that design, this base here, there's nothing for this to slot onto, so that just kind of sits on top. So it wasn't actually really necessary, so that's why they eventually got rid of it. Both bases here have got a nice desert island theme to them. This one in the water has got sharks. We've got yellow, green, red and blue sharks on there. This one here's got a yellow shark, it's got a red octopus, and it's got an orange shark on this one. Now, whereas this one's just got a beach and it's got some pirate treasure and some treasure chests on there, this one here has got treasure chest on it and a beach, but it's also got a bird, and over here it's got a native. Now, this is rather controversial. And one of the things that I find very interesting is in the later versions of this base, before they got rid of it completely, they actually changed this half of the sticker so that this went away because that was not acceptable anymore. You can see here that all of the sticker art is exactly the same, except that the island native has been replaced with a far more acceptable bird. If we compare the actual barrels themselves, this is the newer 89 onward version, and this is the older Action GT 85 version. The 85 version is a bit unstable here because I haven't got it on its base. This one actually has a section here so that it can screw into the base, and once it's screwed into the base, it is nice and sturdy. This one does not have anywhere for that to actually physically attach to the base. It just sits on top of the base, which was really not needed anymore. So later on, they completely got rid of the base in order to save money in production. Apart from the height difference and the width difference, this barrel here, the newer version, only has 2 rows of holes. This one's got 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of holes. This one also has black stickers on here to add a bit more detail, but the problem with that is that you're adding a flat sticker to a curved surface, so particularly this bottom one here, it doesn't really sit very flat, and so it lifts up slightly here, which means that it's likely to catch and rip. let's take a look at this 1989 barrel design and see what's inside it. How does this pop-up mechanism work, and is it really random? Once those 3 screws have been taken out, we can then open it, take the top half off, and you can see inside this is the actual pop-up mechanism here. So here's the plunger that we put down that pushes out the pirate, and this bit is the switch which activates this plunger. Now this mechanism obviously sits inside this ring here in the bottom of the barrel, and then once the top is on place, if you press in a dagger, that will activate it from there, but also the dagger coming in from the top will also activate it. So with this mechanism, there's always actually going to be 2 holes which make the pirate pop up, one in the bottom row and one in the top row. But there's no actual way to randomize this at all. It's just a trigger unit for this pop out spring. So that means if I want it to be a different barrel slit that it goes from, I need to turn this unit manually to a different one. The lighting's not brilliant for seeing inside here, but there are 2 little posts here, and with the pirate on the bottom of him, he's got 2 little slits here, which when they fit onto those, they can be used for turning this into a different position. So once his unit's in place, if I put the pirate in, he can only click into place either this way or this way. Either way, if he clicks in this way, this trigger unit is always going to be on the side of him, never in front or the back. No matter how I turn it, it's always going to be to his side. Or if the pirate goes in the other way, he can go in, and I turn him, it's always going to be at this side. So the randomness is only coming from you turning it, and it's only ever going to be on this side or on this side, and it's triggered by a hole on the bottom and the top. So it's really not random. If you're not turning it, it's going to be the exact same hole or 2 holes every single time. So now that I've put the barrel back together, if I put the pirate in and turn it to randomize it, I still know that the slot that's going to make him pop is either going to be on this side or on this side, depending on which way round I put him in. So I've only got a 50-50 shot of getting it, rather than, it's not going to be any of these ones at the front, and it's not going to be any of these ones at the back. So let's see if that's true. Not that side. So it must be this other side. There you go. Really not much of a shock. If I now take this barrel, remove the sword from it, I know it's that one that made him pop. If I put the pirate back in and don't turn it, if I push the sword back into the same hole, I know it's going to make him pop again in the exact same place. Where is the suspense in that? There's no randomness. I'm going to get it every single time. Or I also know, if not the top one, it'll also be either this one here or this one here. And it will do that every single time. So if I'm an adult playing this game, or even a smart child, you're going to work out that it's not random at all, and it's going to get really, really boring really quickly. Now, let's compare that to the original older design. I'm going to put the pirate in, and I'm not going to turn him. And then I'm going to see which barrel slot sets him off. I've gone all the way round, And we're back to the start. Whoa! And there he goes. That is him with this one here. What I'm going to do just now is I'm going to mark that one with a star. So we know that that is the slot that made him pop up right there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset it again. And I'm not going to spin it at all. Now if this is like most of the mechanisms, because I've not spun it, if I put the sword back in here, he should now pop up again. But he hasn't. So let's try again. This time, without turning him, it's changed to this one. And this time, we were over here. We've been round, and there's still, it must have changed some way during doing it. And there we go, now we've got a different one again. And now, we've got a slot over here. Now we're round here. And again. Now, I think what we've discovered here is that it has moved around. It's gone to just random ones. But once we've got to this point here with this one, without turning this, this is now staying here and it's not changing. But with this mechanism, that's only with one sword trying it. I'm going to try something slightly different and try lots of swords now and see if that makes a difference. So we're going to reset it, start with this one, which we've worked out won't do it on the first one, but will do it on the second one. But what if we don't have a chance of doing it on a second one? What if we leave that one in and keep doing it with different swords? Now it's moved on to this one. So let's try again. This time we were right round here. Whoa! That one was round here. Let's mark that. And this time, up here. Now I could keep on going and going and going, but this is just to show you that every single one of these points so far have set off the pirate, and I have not moved it once. I did not spin it once, but every one of those points so far at some point has set off the pirate. So whatever's happening inside here, the mechanism is completely different from all the other ones from 1989 onwards. This one is so much better because it actually is random. So let's take a look at what it is that makes this earlier version random, unlike the other ones. To do that, I'm going to undo these 3 screws. And then we can lift off the top of the barrel. And we can see that this is a very different beast from the one that we had before. if we take a look at the newer Tomy version, once that is being pressed in, it can only be activated with one switch. The older Action GT version, once that's been put in, it's got two switches here which can activate it. So, bottom, top, bottom. It needs three different ones before it will pop on that one. That was bottom, top, bottom. Let's try again. Bottom, top, bottom. Bottom, top, bottom. Top, bottom. Top, bottom. This one also has the ability to spin by the player's actions, not just by turning this, but as they put the swords in, by putting the swords in, that will actually turn the mechanism. So depending on what order you put the swords in, it will spin this as well to different positions, and it will randomize it far more. So this, you can see, is a much more complicated beast than this thing here. Obviously, this part here would cost far more to make than this because it's got more springs, more moving parts, more parts in general. So to cut costs, instead of having all of these parts for this mechanism, it's been simplified to this because it'd be a lot cheaper to make this one. Unfortunately, this one, compared with this one, is just plain rubbish. Of course, this one's also designed so that you can spin the barrel in order to mix things up more. However, unlike the newer version, which only has 2 pegs, this one has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pegs. And the bottom of the pirate has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notches in it. So that means there's actually 6 different ways that you can put the pirate into the barrel before spinning him to mix things up more, rather than just the 2 ways that's in the newer version. That means that the mechanism could be any way round, and it could be any of those slots that set him off. So this is by far the best one.
And that be it, you salty sea dogs. The pirate and the swords from the newer version have definitely been improved for the better, but the game and the pop-up mechanism from the old version are by far the best. So if you're looking to pick up this game, go for vintage, and the new version can walk the plank. Until next time, this be Attic Raiders Retro Reviews. Arr!
All the way you're rolling kings to me, heave away. All the way you'll hear me sing. We're bound for South Australia.